Empty your mind, fill with power. Ethan Williams had always lived inside his head more than in the real world. He was 26, working a corporate job in London that felt more like a cage than a career. From the outside, people thought he was doing fine, a steady paycheck, a small but neat apartment, and the illusion of a young man building his life. But inside, Ethan was drowning. His mind was never quiet. Every mistake he had made, from the wrong decisions in college to failed friendships and broken promises, replayed on a loop. At night, when the city around him softened into sleep, his head roared with voices. You're not good enough. You should have done better. You're wasting your life. One cold evening, sitting on the rooftop of his building, Ethan whispered words that he didn't fully understand but felt deep in his bones. Empty your mind. Fill with power. It wasn't something he had read. It wasn't advice someone had given. It was instinct, a desperate prayer. The next morning, searching for a place of quiet, he walked into a small cafe near Hyde Park. Ethan often went there with his laptop, pretending to work but really just staring blankly at the screen. That day, however, was different. In the far corner, an old man sat alone with a cup of tea. His silver hair caught the morning light from the window, and his eyes carried a depth that unsettled Ethan. When their eyes met, the man smiled knowingly. You have too much noise in your head, the old man said, his voice calm but sharp. Ethan blinked, startled. Sorry. You're filled with regrets, fears, and doubts. That noise is stealing your strength. Empty your mind, and you'll find power you never knew you had. Ethan wanted to laugh it off, but he couldn't. The stranger's words pierced him. For reasons he couldn't explain, he sat at the old man's table. The man introduced himself as Gabriel. Over tea, Gabriel spoke in stories rather than advice. He told Ethan about warriors in ancient Japan who believed the mind must be empty before battle, so the body and spirit could act without hesitation. He spoke of athletes who entered a state of flow, where time disappeared, and only action remained. And he told Ethan something that lingered like a seed. The mind is a vessel. If it's filled with fears, there is no space for courage. If it's filled with regrets, there is no space for growth. Empty it, Ethan, empty it, and then fill it with power. Ethan walked out of that cafe confused yet strangely lighter. Days turned into weeks. Ethan tried to practice what Gabriel said. He started small. Each morning, before checking his phone, he sat quietly, focusing only on his breath. Whenever his thoughts drifted toward regret, he whispered, empty. When fear entered, he whispered, empty. At first, it felt silly. His head was too noisy. But over time, moments of silence appeared, like cracks of sunlight breaking through storm clouds. He began noticing things he had never paid attention to. The sound of leaves brushing against the wind, the way the sun painted the Thames golden at sunset, the rhythm of footsteps on wet London streets. His world slowed down. His chest felt lighter. One evening, Ethan found himself jogging through Hyde Park. His lungs burned. His legs ached, but his mind was quiet. For the first time in years, he wasn't replaying mistakes or fearing tomorrow. He was simply running. And in that quietness, he felt it, power. It wasn't physical strength, though his body was stronger than before. It wasn't pride, though he began standing taller. It was something deeper, a steady flame inside him that said, you are enough. You can grow. You are free. Weeks later, Ethan returned to the cafe. Gabriel was there again, as if waiting. Ethan smiled and said, I think I understand now. When I let go, I feel stronger. When I stop clinging to my mistakes, I can finally move forward. Gabriel nodded. Good. But remember, it's not about escaping thoughts. It's about creating space. Space for discipline. Space for courage. Space for love. Empty the poison, fill with power. Ethan carried those words with him. Months passed and he began to rebuild his life. He applied for a new job that once felt impossible, and he got it. Not because he suddenly became a genius, but because he walked into the interview without fear holding him back. He began repairing friendships he thought were broken forever, simply by apologizing without shame. He even started writing again, a passion he had abandoned years ago, because now his mind wasn't cluttered with self-doubt. The transformation wasn't magical. There were still hard days, still failures, still moments when the noise tried to return, but Ethan now had a weapon. Whenever fear or regret appeared, he whispered, empty, fill with power. Slowly, he became someone new, not because the world changed, but because his mind did. One night, as he stood again on the rooftop of his apartment, the same place where his journey had begun, Ethan looked at the glowing city and smiled. The weight was gone. Not because life was perfect, but because he had learned the secret. When the mind is empty, the heart becomes full. When the noise is gone, the soul finds its voice. And when you let go of what weakens you, you make space for what strengthens you. He whispered into the night, not as a prayer, but as a truth he now lived. Empty your mind. Fill with power. And this time, the words did not feel desperate. They felt like freedom.